What's happening? What's happening? What's happening, y'all? Welcome to another edition of SWAC Smoke. We in the house as usual. Got me, C Wells, got DJ over there. It's Thursday as usual, and we're gonna just chop it up about the SWAC world. Man, how you doing today, DJ?
Doing pretty good. A little wore out from the week. We had some bad weather come through last night, but kind of woke me up middle of the night, so I didn't get all my sleep. You know what I'm saying? But I'm here.
Yeah, we got hit with that weather in the daytime, man. Like
Yeah.
probably like 2, 3 o'clock. We got hit with that, but it didn't do anything. Just a lot of wind and some rain, and then it moved on. So we got lucky. But this is like the second week in a row we got that thrown at us. So we
Yeah.
missed the last time. So what's up, Big Thrillo? Got Big Thrillo in the house already.
What's
Them
happening?
TSU people, them TSU people be on time and early. They don't play. What's happening?
I guess that's what it takes to win. That's a winner's trait.
Oh yeah, winners always, first one in, last one out. That's how
Yeah.
you gotta do. So man, let's go. Oh, Jamie G in here. Oh, what's up, man? Got the all stars in here. So did you have anything you wanted to kick it off with?
Nah, you can kick it off.
Well, I mean, I'm just gonna, we kind of touched on it briefly before we got on air, but I'm sure y'all seen the videos of the JSU locker room, man. Y'all, what y'all think about it? I thought it was pretty sharp, man. Got nice little locker areas, TVs and everything. Got the lounge they're gonna have for the players. It's a nice little area. I think that's something that I we already said it. I'm sure other people got things that are nice too, and I ain't trying to talk about anybody, but I think when you going up into the level of recruiting that we're trying to get to, you really need those little bells and whistles to get those kids in there.
Oh yeah, of course. I kind of wish we can get something like that in PB. Like those schools for sure. Pine Bluff. Um, who else? Bethune Cookman. Those places that don't have a big name coach or anything like that, you gotta have something else to get the students on campus. And I think that right there is that's one way to get them. Iota Phi Theta.
All right,
Centaurs.
shout out to your frat brother, man. He did a good job on that, man. If y'all need any painters, I painters, I travel, man. Call me. I won't hit JSU too hard, but I do a little something, man. So if y'all need any construction work, man, hit me up. I look out for you. But I think it's one of those things where you got to kind of do what you can. Now Bethune Cookman got a NBA pro coach and a TV star coach. Reggie Theus
Who?
needs to stop. Reggie
Talking
Theus,
about who?
Reggie Theus, the coach of Bethune Cookman. He's an NBA guy, man. He had a little TV show back in the day.
Basketball coach?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought you talking about football. I was gonna say.
Oh no, the basketball
Yeah.
coach. I'm like they got a celebrity coach, man. He need to start flexing, and getting some funds coming through there, man, because they need it.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess DI need to hold a clinic on that on how to on fundraising.
Hey, gotta do something, man, because it keep coming back to one of the things I've said a bunch of times, man. I feel like it's gonna become an arms race, and when they get like that, somebody gonna get left behind, and that's unfortunate in a league that's as tight knit as the SWAC. So hopefully everybody can kind of do their own thing. Everybody can't do the same thing, but if you can do your thing in a way that can keep things generating and growing, then I think it won't be as bad. But that's been my concern about the growth of everything, is that somebody gonna get left behind, man, and that's not good.
I saw something today. Alabama State, they students going on strike about something down there, and some kind of way the athletes got twisted up in it. Like the students are blaming not having money on athletes or something like that going on. So it's going down to Alabama State about something right now.
Oh man, yeah, I'm about to look into that. You know
Yeah,
that anytime there's some kind of issue like that, athletics always get drug into it because people look at athletics get this, they get that, but unfortunately, athletics also get money outside of the school.
right.
Not a lot of people throw money at the science department. It's like
Mm-mm.
so you wanna because I mean, and no offense to my academic people, but this is a sports show. But nobody walk up to nobody and be like, man, I'm from Southern, you from Grambling, man. Y'all biology classes are garbage. It's like
Yeah,
you don't do that. It's all about
yeah,
sports, and sports are like they say, sports are the front door, front porch to your school. So hopefully, whatever's going on there, man, they can get that worked out because you don't
yeah.
really need any kind of situation like that at a school.
Right,
that can really wreck some things with the athletic program and the academic. So hopefully, whatever's going on, they can get that worked out.
right.
I mean, because really, I feel like Alabama State's one of those athletic departments, period, that's always doing well. They don't get a lot of hype, but most of their sports do really well, and they run their athletic department pretty well. So hopefully, they can get that all sorted out.
Yeah, I just hate that they taking it to social media, you know. But that's just the world we live in now.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, anything that happens, it's going social media. That's just like you said, that's just
yeah,
the way the world is. So, that can be good sometimes because it can shed light on some things, but it could be bad. I don't know if you keep up with Southern Twitter, but I think a lot of students at Southern having problems getting their money, um, their aid money. So that's been a thing on Twitter like crazy. So, it's just one of those things that you got to kind of be careful with what you put out there.
yeah,
But if you put it there, hopefully it can get the attention of the right people. And like the comment said, sports and the band are your money makers at your school. So one way or the other, if it's from the school or from somebody else, that money going into there. So it's hope. Like I just keep saying, hopefully it's not a long lasting issue.
one thing I want to put out there, from what I was told by somebody in financial aid, and the reason I'm speaking on it because most HBCUs deal with that same issue. I dealt with it at PB, getting your check later than most PWIs and things like that. And I don't know, I think I might have spoken on it on the show before, but they say that the Department of Ed released the funds to schools who have the higher rates of people paying loans back.
So well, yeah,
So
that can.
that's so it's not the school per se withholding the funds, is that they don't get the funds. They're the last ones to get the money to give to you. But the whole time we blame it on the school, not understanding how everything really worked. That's what I was told. I'm not saying that's 100% right, but that's what I was told by somebody that works
Well,
in financial aid.
the school always gonna get put on blast because that's the easiest target for
Yeah.
you. And like we used to not get our money until November in the fall.
Right. That's
So
what
that
that's me.
I'm like
Yeah.
that, and I wasn't complaining because that's Bayou Classic money. So it's like I was like I don't want my money in September, man. Give it to me in November, and I could go flex. we stand at the Royal Semester now, boy. We about to do it up. So it's like I understand their frustrations, but at the same time, it's just one of those issues like HBCUs. It's a thing that we go through. Something that PWIs don't go through, and it's magnified now. Nobody knew that we really wasn't getting our money because we had no social media, but people know that now. So it really is one of those things that gets more light shed on it, and it makes it a big problem to a lot of people.
Yeah. And I hate that, actually, but being out of the situation, and I know this doesn't help people in the situation, but it's almost like, to me, I look at it like paying the price, so to speak, for the HBCU experience as a whole. Because yeah, PWI, I get my check early, but I don't get that Southern experience. I don't get that Southern band. I don't get, those whatever Wednesdays y'all call it, where everybody dress up and, what I'm
Pretty
saying.
pretty Wednesday.
Yeah, you don't get none of that. So I'm not saying that that should, cancel out the fact that you're getting your money late. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying in the grand scheme of things that in my mind now, that's just kind of how I look at it. Like that's just something that I might have sacrificed a little bit, but my experience overall was so much greater than getting that check in November.
Yeah, I mean, it's you get the good and bad, and
Right.
like I've always heard people say, you should come out better in the long run because you go through everything. You learn how to take no for an answer. You learn how to go through the runaround. There's a lot of positive experiences that I had at Southern that I probably couldn't have had anywhere else. But there's also the other side, and I appreciate both sides of it, man, because I couldn't be who I am without the other side. The good side, that's great, but the other side made it balanced out, and you can't get that anywhere else. So I guess you go to Southern. I'm not gonna speak for everybody's school, and I don't know how Southern is now because I don't go there. But you go to Southern back then, you was gonna get the good and the bad, and you learned how to negotiate your way through everything. So I'm appreciative, man. That's one of those, like you say, HBCU experiences.
Yeah, and actually now real life, I know people close to me that work actual professional jobs in hospitals and things like that, and not getting their checks on time. So it don't just stop at HBCUs. You got corporations that have problems paying their employees and things like that. So if you went through that in college, you kind of understand how to deal with it. You know what I'm saying? And it sucks because when you got bills, them people want their money. They ain't messed up about your job not paying you on time. They want their
Oh yeah.
money, but so it sucks still. But if you had that experience in your life before, you know how to maneuver because you made it work then, and you figured out then, okay, if I need some money, I gotta get some from here, do this, do that, and then when I get my check, what I'm saying, you know how to do what you need to do with that. So
Yeah, so it's just an adaptation.
yeah,
You adapt or you perish. So if you're gonna make it, then you're gonna do what it takes. And that's something kind of to bring it back around, man. That's something that I think we have been doing a long time, even with sports. We just been kind of growing our own way, and now with the way things are going, a lot of people bringing more attention. You getting that battle between people who used to doing things this way and people who want to do things another way, and in the middle they clashing, and I feel like both sides can go together, but the new stuff want to push the old stuff out, and that's a problem.
yeah. You always got like I think I'm a part of that problem because I don't want to change with the times with a lot of stuff. You know what I'm saying? My ideologies are stuck. All this new stuff, some of it is cool, but some of it I'm like, man, this for the birds.
Yeah, I mean, I'm probably like the most half and half person that you'll meet on a lot of stuff. So I kind of am one way, and when it comes to a lot of newer things, it just depends on how it's done. Like I don't want to do anything that's gonna wreck tradition, because to me history and tradition are important. So if you can do things and still honor the things that came before you, then I think it's good. I don't think you need to clean slate stuff, and because you need to build on whatever history that you built. If you Grambling, you need to continue to build on your football legacies. You don't just push that away because you got shiny new stuff. You find a way to incorporate that stuff and bring it along, because that's what a lot of schools do. So I think it's just one of those, don't push out the old stuff because you got something new, because that new might not last.
Yeah, that make perfect sense. I mean, you got to stay true to who you are at the end of the day.
Yeah, and there was something that we kind of talked about a little bit last week, not much, but um the situation with the Southern Heritage Classic and the promoters. How you feel about classics in general, like and like outside people, running them? Like, a lot of times they have issues with money, or in the case of like the State Fair Classic, they contract or the promoter don't want the game televised, which I think is stupid. But how you feel about that kind of stuff?
Honestly, these I think I enjoy like the old classics that's been established and been around. Like, and some of them have died off, and the ones that died off, I mean, I think you should leave them dead. But as far as like third parties, uh, I know it's kind of one of them things where if the SWAC can take it over and continue it like the Southern Heritage Classic, I think they should do that and just eliminate the middleman. But I definitely would like, I wouldn't want Bayou Classic to change, Magic City Classic, like those classics right there, Florida Classic, they need to stay. But I remember it was some years where we went through the Delta Classic for literacy. That was between Pine Bluff and Grambling. They played it in Little Rock. I mean, it wasn't the turnout that it used to be when they played in Shreveport. So it's like some of those classics change, and once those classics change from what people are used to, it kind of loses its steam. So I don't know. I kind of talked all over the place, but
And I mean, it's one of those things where you kind of just you go with, like they say, the stream of consciousness. But to me, I'm kind of the same. I used to love like the Circle City Classic. I've been there like a couple times for that game whenever Southern played there. We played in Chicago a couple times. The attendance was iffy. One year we played Valley, so that the Valley don't bring a big crowd nowhere. Um, but they turned out decent because a lot of Mississippi people live in Chicago. But I think it's like it's all in terms of who runs it. People can put together a game, but the money not always right. They flimsy with the money. Like Southern and Pine Bluff was supposed to play in St. Louis one year, and the funds wasn't the way they was, and neither team could agree on playing anywhere else. And Southern was like, we just won't play, which still don't make no sense to me. We decided not to play a conference game because the money wasn't right, and we did not play. So those kind of things I think give classics a bad look, and I think those are the things that some people see when you talk about a game being put on by somebody. Being able to not get what you need, or in the case of some games playing in a NFL stadium with two teams that have no draw, and the game is new, so you're playing in an empty stadium, which I think is a horrible look. But that's another thing, attendance. But I think for classics to work, they need to have a connection to the local community, because you need those local people at the games to kind of flesh out the people at it, because everybody's not going to bring 20,000 people on the road. So that's a big thing, and it makes it look better.
what you think about can and they all started somewhere, but in today's time, do you feel like you can just create a classic or a rivalry and it do numbers?
Um, a classic, I think you can. Now when you say numbers, you mean like let's throw it like 25,000 at a game, or you
Like
mean like
Jackson Alcorn or Jackson Southern, can you do numbers like that with just something you trying to make a game?
you with the right location, Atlanta, um, maybe Dallas, but Atlanta for sure, and the right teams, then yeah, you can do that. But if you played that game, um, I don't know, in Minnesota, just just throwing out a place at the Viking Stadium, then you may not bring enough. You may not get enough people to come up there. The interest can be there, but I think it all depends on the location, and how close those schools are, and also if there's any history between those schools. Now, a rivalry game, I think you're gonna. I don't think too many new rivalries can grow to big numbers, because everybody pretty much is is kind of attached to who they attached to. And with the East West thing, you don't play everybody all the time, so that crossover appeal may not be as great. So I think a classic can with the right people running it in the right place, but actual rivalry game, I don't really see that happening. At least not drawing big numbers if they haven't already been that way.
So the classic, I guess it would be considered a classic. The Jackson State Pine Bluff game in Birmingham. What you think that's gonna draw? I
Um,
mean, of course, Jackson, they fans more than likely gonna travel. I mean, some don't want to go to Birmingham, but what you think about that whole Birmingham thing? Even the Southern Jackson.
well, um, when all that news dropped, I was one of the biggest people against it because I don't like moving Southern Jackson away from home and home. But outside of that, I think both. I mean, both of those schools are gonna draw. That's how much it depends, on the success of each team. But you can probably guarantee like 30,000 at the game. But I think I think Pine Bluff can bring a decent number. Jackson could probably bring a good number. I think you might max out at 30. At 30K. That's just a rough guess. Because I don't really see that there's no real connection between the two teams to kind of get those other people to come through. So I think it's just gonna depend on how many people Pine Bluff bring with them. Now it might be a good.
So you talking about if it's 30,000, Jackson bringing 29
Man, y'all bringing more than 1,000, man.
to
I give
Birmingham?
y'all, I give y'all at least five. That's not that long a trip, is it?
It ain't that short. I mean, right now we not doing well. Even when you are doing well, look, we got a 15,000 seat stadium. It has never been sold out. So imagine that.
So you basically saying, JS, you gonna do all the heavy lifting on this, and y'all just gonna
Of
be there
course.
to
I
cash
mean,
the check.
when have you seen like even in Baton Rouge? When have Pine Bluff just now we do a bus or two of people, but as far as like the city saying, "Oh, we finna go," now back in the day
Mm,
when I was a kid, I think it would have drew a lot more when we was traveling to classic St. Louis, Shreveport. We was going everywhere then, but this new generation of residents in the city, they're not traveling. They're not supporting the institution like that. So
yeah,
I don't think that's a good place for it for me personally because I don't feel like people gonna go.
yeah, I agree with you. And to answer this question, those games are being played at Legion Field. Um, they pretty much got free reign of the stadium. The city covering a lot of the costs. That's why this is a big issue for them to play it there. And they pocket pretty much all the money. So financially, it's a big boom. Like I said, I'm just one of those people. I like games that are certain games to be played in certain places. Um, I think Southern and Jackson can play anywhere and draw decently. Like you said, I don't see too many people from Pine Bluff come down to Southern, but we typically play Pine Bluff and Baton Rouge later in the year, and by that time maybe the season not going so good, so people don't want to travel
Right.
for that. But it's just I mean I never been to a game at Pine Bluff, so I can't speak for y'all crowds there. I only been to games at Little Rock, so
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't crazy, man. Southern 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 has a great road attendance, but they don't go certain places, so it don't always seem as great. So I can feel where you're coming from. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I think if you got a connection like that, then I think that's gonna always be a good thing. Yeah, I mean I agree with this comment too. You really don't have those are your top three teams as far as fan bases that travel. Um, and if you look at those fan bases, they all similar. They all got that similar mindset. They want to come to your school and take over, and come to your city and take over. So everybody else, I think it's a hit or miss type of thing, and that's why I'm always so concerned with who you put in games. if you really trying to get good numbers, that's I mean, you don't ask if you were a Power Five people trying to put it together a Power Five neutral site game. You don't ask Vanderbilt to come. I mean, they don't got a fan base. So you don't ask people who don't have it. But you can only draw blood out that turnip of those people there so many times. You can't if you stretch a fan base too many times, then yeah, people start to kind of stagger off. And I don't want to be too long winded, but that's me. Back in the '90s when the Heritage Bowl was going on, Southern wouldn't really bring as many people to the game as people would think because at one point you had Bayou Classic, and then in '99 you had the SWAC Championship game, and then like a couple weeks later you had the Heritage Bowl. So people had to kind of decide: am I going to Birmingham or am I going to Atlanta? And it's around Christmas time, so sometimes those kind of things can stretch a fan base too far. So I think some people who should have better attendance, I hope they can start to get things together. But everybody got a reason for why they don't draw people.
Yeah, I think we talked about this when we first started the show about TSU, and I think it was Los J saying it was a commuter school. That's why their attendance is the way it is. Because I'm thinking like, man, they in Houston, like, and it's a to me it's a very popular HBCU. Most people know about Texas Southern. I felt like they should have a big turnout, but apparently not.
Yeah, and TSU will travel when like the comments say when they win it, they come out and it's I think it's tough for schools like that. They don't have that like core base of people that's always gonna be wherever they go, and it's tough because they're not gonna go too far away. Baton Rouge they'll beat up pretty deep depending on what time of year it is and how they doing, and they probably hit Jackson. Anything further than that, I doubt. You're kind of pushing it for people. So it unless you got a connection or a rivalry with people, a lot of schools not gonna bring a lot of people to those for extreme places in the conference. So I'm really interested to see what the yearly turnout of games for the other SWAC teams at Bethune Cookman is gonna be because Daytona is like far away from
Yeah,
everywhere.
from everybody. Yeah.
So that's one of the things I want to see, year to year, game to game, who's gonna bring people. I'm already said, whenever Southern do go to Daytona, I'm going just because that's just, I've been to Daytona like once in my life, so I think that's a trip that I would like to make. But that's a big financial stretch for some people, so it's gonna really be interesting to see how they fare in the league, over extended time period.
How many people attending the school spring games, and is Southern charging anything to get in the spring game this year?
No, we're not charging. It's free. Southern spring game is free. I think Grambling spring game is like $5 or $10. I can't remember, but they are charging. Their game is Saturday. Um, Southern's not charging, and I'm glad of that because I know Baton Rouge. If they put a price on it, a lot of people are gonna be like, oh, I can't, I'm not going. So I hope they've been doing a good job of promoting the game. They having like a mixer for former players
On
Friday
Friday.
night. They got the junior day on Saturday, and so it's this is one of the first times I've seen Southern put a lot of emphasis on on their spring game, and I think that's good. I know Alcorn kind of doing the same thing with their junior day and their spring game. Also next Saturday, Grambling got a lot of activities going on. So I think this is the first year I've seen a lot of people put a lot of emphasis on their spring game. And speaking of spring games, did you did you hear anything about Alabama in their spring game?
Oh, that's one thing I wanted to ask you. I saw some clips, but nobody has like talked about how well anybody played or anything like that. I just saw the maroon team beat the white team.
yeah, that was a really, to me, that was a really disappointing thing. Like I was, eager to find out. I did watch um one of the guys, Ibrahim, the wide receiver. He went live one day. They
Yeah.
were doing their draft for the game, and I watched that. And I was expecting, maybe not a full coverage of the game by the school, but a write up on the school website or something, and there was nothing from like one of the news stations in Huntsville. And they played a couple things. They didn't really talk about a lot, so I didn't come out knowing any more than I did going in, and that was kind of disappointing. And that kind of was like one of those things that we talk about with schools and their social media, which really confused me because Alabama has been really good with their social media presence, and they did not do anything to amp this game up or cover it once it was over. So I didn't know anything at all.
I wonder if Maynard doing that on purpose, so you don't know what he got going on. Think he trying to be
Yeah,
incognito.
I mean that's also possible. He
Yeah.
maybe they came in the last year with so much hype and attention. Maybe he trying to go the other way this year to kind of bring it in, keep it insulated, and people don't know what they working with, and that can go that can as a fan that can go one or two ways. That could be good, and it could be bad because the lack of information leads to people really starting to speculate things. And every school got what we like to call a street committee, and those people start to put things out there that ain't always true. You know, and sometimes too much access is also not a good thing. Um, so I could see him kind of closing ranks. Especially with the way the season turned out. Maybe they working on a few things. They got some pieces that they and it's the spring too. So it's only so much that you could take from it.
Yeah, I think with the quarterback change, I think he don't. For one, he may not have a clear cut, and he don't really want people to know if they are struggling at that position. Probably don't want you to know just yet. You know what I'm saying? He trying to.
Yeah, I mean I agree. I feel like without knowing how it's going, I feel like this is one of those jobs that's not going to really be settled until probably going into the fall or midway, fall practice or midway through camp. Because I
Or
don't really
maybe the
see.
first couple games.
Yeah, yeah, it could be a situation like that where they don't, you don't know who's gonna be the quarterback. You just kind of go with the guy until somebody finally separate themselves. So maybe to keep that kind of stuff from running wild, they don't they're not really being that forthcoming with stuff, and that I mean, as an outside person that's fine, but as a person that's that kind of dabble in this kind of stuff, it's a little bit frustrating because you want to kind of put out what they're doing. But if that's the case, then I respect what they're doing. Um, can't do that at Southern. There's too many eyes and ears, and even when they practice in the stadium, people can still stand at the fence and watch. So it's just
Yeah.
it's just one of those things. So, but I just would love to see a little bit more, and that's just one of those things that we've been talking about a lot with social media and everything. But I'm really impressed with the attention a lot of schools are putting on their spring games this year. So hopefully, that's something that can continue to develop.
I'm waiting on a reply. I'm trying to find out when Pine Bluff spring game is. I see they put out the practice schedule once a week, but they
Oh,
haven't really. You
April
got
twenty
that?
second, Friday,
You got it.
Friday, April 22nd, 7 p.m.
Now, where you get that from? I mean, you ain't got to put it on air, but
I got
I've
I
been
got it
searching high and low on all their pages and all this stuff.
I got it from from one of the Instagram, I think, or Twitter, UAPB.
Yeah. Okay. They
They
got
had a
like
pic-
two or three Instagram pages. I
well,
don't know which
I don't
one
know
is
which one it
official.
was. I don't know if
Yeah.
I don't know if it was an official page or it was a fan
Yeah.
page, but somebody had it, and they listed like they supposed to have some things before the game and all of that. So I did see that because I went through last week and wrote down pretty much everybody's spring game except for Bethune Cookman because I don't know what the hell they doing and when the hell they doing it because they didn't they I don't know if they're practicing yet or not. They don't they haven't said when their spring game is. They don't say anything. If anybody is super quiet on social media, it's them. They don't say anything.
Do they even have a page?
They have an Instagram, I know, and they actually have a couple Instagrams. The football program has a Twitter account that don't really get updated that much. Um, so I'm really kind of disappointed with the way they handling a lot of things, and I understand they got limitations, but it's tough, man. You don't really get anything from anybody. Reached out to the SID one time and never got a response, so it's just it's tough, man. They I don't know where they stand on anything.
Well, we'll find out soon. Oh, how do you like the turnout at FAMU Pro Day?
I thought that was pretty interesting, and I think some people making it out to be a little bit more than what it what it need to be. But I think it's a good look. I don't know if that's a byproduct of you know what happened last week, or if that's just I mean, FAMU do have some legit prospects, so it's not like those teams came out to see guys that they don't have a chance of getting. But I think it's a good look, because there are some teams who don't get that, even major FCS teams. So I think getting that turnout is great. And if this man BCU, if they you know I I just think they need to step up their social media presence. If they got the money like that, then there's no real excuse for that to be happening. And that's just me. Now that I can't speak for nobody else, but I'm just a person. I like to kind of know everything. So if I can't get what I want, I get a little annoyed. And it's not so that's not a necessary slight against Bethune Cookman. That's just, my personality. I just want to throw that out there. So, let disclaimer.
Yeah, I mean, they can hire interns, man. If
Yeah, I
people
mean,
need internships, uh, run social media.
but yeah, that's that's one of those things that you can beat that horse 90 times, man. It is, and I think that's one of those things that's like the old and new battle. A lot of the old administrators, a lot of those people don't really see a value in social media. Social media is very valuable. So hopefully, that can get going. But kind of switching back to the pro day, I think that's good, man. More eyes on guys, it only helps. And hopefully, with these next few pro days coming up, we get some good turnouts for those as well.
Yeah, we see what go down on the bluffs down there. See if anybody show up.
Yeah,
Yep.
April 6th. So one thing about Southern, if anything happened there, you will know, because whether it's somebody from Southern or somebody from Grambling, because Grambling people love to be in everything Southern do, because a lot of them live in Baton Rouge. But it's gonna get out there. So hopefully, we get some good reports, and we get some of these guys, man, get a good opportunity to make the NFL.
I see y'all got I know his last name Joseph McWilliams
Yeah,
from
he
Grambling as a
brought him
GA.
in as a GA. Man,
Yeah,
Joe McWilliams, man, was one of the best defensive backs Grambling had in years, man. That dude was a ball hawk, and he knew how to find the end zone. So if he could transfer any of that to our defensive backs, even in an opportunity to get his feet wet in the coaching world, I think that's a good look, man. I think Coach Dooley putting together a good staff is real Grambling heavy. So that's something that I'm a little bit weary of. Not 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 for me, but if things start to go sideways, people gonna be like, all them Grambling dudes on it. It's just one of those things. But I think at least he's doing a good job of putting together a staff. A lot of younger guys, guys that he do have familiarity with, and I think that's a good look. So I'm expecting some good things to happen, and hopefully they have a good turnout at spring game, and they put on a good show for what it's worth. Oh, we got Grambling in the house, and
and let me ask you this, like, and it go for like Jamie G and Thrillo, like after you, it's like some of those like PB, we really don't have no true enemy. Valley was like a rivalry because we was always battling for last place. You know what I'm saying? So But I mean, how does it feel for like Joe McWilliams to be playing for Grambling recently, hating Southern in the Bayou Classic, and now you got to put on that powder blue every
Uh,
day and go to work?
Um, first off, it's Columbia blue.
Same thing.
I know, but I like to say that whenever people, because everybody say that,
Yeah,
Carolina blue, powder
yeah,
blue, whatever. I'm like, it's Columbia blue, but I just love to say that, But I think it's with it's got to be tough. I mean, obviously I can't speak from that standpoint because I'm not in that like that, but I know it's got to be tough to kind of go from one side to the other because the 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 rivalry runs deep, and
yeah,
it's almost like you're even though you're on the other side now, you're not really away from the other ones because people are gonna constantly ask you, man, how you end up at Southern, how you how you do this, I think as a coach, I think it's kind of like this comment, you kind of go with what you need to do.
yeah.
Um, but like I said, a lot of I can't speak for a lot of schools because I can only speak for where I'm from. But in Baton Rouge, you have a big mix of Southern and Grambling people. So even in the same household, wives from Grambling, Southern husbands, those kind of things. So I think it's a little bit easier to deal with. You can because you see both sides of it all the time. So I think it's not necessarily that huge thing as much, but you definitely. I mean, like I said, I think as a coach, you definitely go with wherever your check coming from. So you kind of put that. Maybe it's like a parent with a kid that play for your rival. You want them to do well every time except when they play you. So maybe you kind of keep your eyes out on what your former school doing, but you're 100% that team as long as they cutting that check to you. So I
Uh-huh.
kind of agree with those comments. But as a
I think I
fan,
might be crazy because, like, I hate the Cowboys. I can't see myself even applying for a job with the Dallas Cowboys. There's no way I could just go for the Cowboys. Period. Like, I just don't see that. But the reason I'm not gonna worry about them paying me because I'm not gonna apply. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah, I mean, when it comes to certain teams, I would probably be the same way, and I wouldn't put myself in that position. Like even any job, I would never work at LSU. It's just I don't like LSU, so
yeah,
that's just one of those things. But anybody else, hey,
you good to
like
go.
I said, if Jackson State need a painter, give me a blue JSU hat, man, and I'll go paint that WC Gordon red all over the campus if that's what y'all want. But Grambling, they had to cut me a nice check, and I don't know if I can come back home to my family because I know my dad wouldn't let me back in the house if I if I went to Grambling to do anything.
Nigga, Jamie G said he'll take a job. Hey, good luck to you.
Hey, Jared cut you that check now,
Yeah, he'll
so
cut a check.
Jared cut you a nice check. So I mean,
And I guess I got to stick to my gun because I'm one of the main ones on the show that I always talk about. Everybody can't be bought. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
I'm not a person like money don't move me like it move everybody else. And that ain't no joke. This ain't just for the show. That's real life. You know what I'm saying? Money don't like it. Certain things I just ain't doing for money because I can always make more money. You know what
oh
I'm
yeah,
saying? There's plenty of ways to make it. I don't have to make it the way you want me to make it. You know what I mean?
and I mean, I agree with that. We joke around a lot, but I've had some real life situations where, you know, uh, earlier in the football season, Coach Prime was like, "All money ain't good money." You know, I've had jobs where I made more money and I was miserable. It's not, it's not always about getting paid. I mean, yes, you need to, take care of your family, and
Yeah.
if you're good at something, I don't know how many of y'all, comic book people, but like in the Dark Knight, the Joker said it. If you're good at something, why do it for free? So yes, if you're good at something, you get paid. But at the same time, it needs to be a thing that you enjoy doing. So making money and being miserable is not a good thing. So yeah, I can
Right.
understand where you're coming from. You know, I don't think anybody should totally be moved by money because to me
Right.
that's a mercenary, and that's a person that never be loyal anywhere because all it takes is money to move them somewhere else. And
Right.
you, especially as a coach, I know that's a position that constantly stay on the go, but at some point you have to kind of be where you at. If you're one of those guys that always look for a new job every couple of years, I just don't see how you can build anything.
Hey, different strokes for different folks. You know, I don't knock nobody. I just, certain principles and values I have, and that's just where I choose to live my life. But you
Yeah, I
got
mean,
all types.
you, you got to have, whatever you stand for, man. You have to be firm in your beliefs, and if that's the case, then you do what you do. I just feel like certain things, you should just not jump at. Now if it's the right opportunity, like the coach from St. Peter's, his alma
Yeah,
mater came calling. That's home. I
right.
can see you leaving that school at this time to go there, and I'm sure they're gonna cut you a nice check. But to go from now to like North Alabama or somewhere, that's I'm sorry, that's a dumb move. So I think if you make smart moves and you advance yourself and you get paid, then yes, that's good. But just chasing bags don't always work out well for anybody. So let that be a lesson to a lot of people who want to throw money at coaches all the time. Man, you don't always want that. That's not always a good thing for your program.
Right. Yeah. Guess that's about all I got for this week.
Yeah, man, it's coming about to that time, man. So I think we're gonna go ahead and roll on up out of here. We appreciate y'all coming through and hanging out with us tonight. Um, hey, make sure y'all hit that like button, um, and hit that subscription button while y'all are here, man. So go back and check out some of the old stuff we got. We got a lot of stuff we still trying to get going, and we're gonna continue to bring y'all some good SWAC smoke. So with that being said, man, I'm Steve Wells. I'm signing out.
I'm DJ. I'm out.
All right, we're gonna holler at y'all.